Okay, I've seen some confusion on the last couple lessons, so I just wanted to do one more video that I thought might be helpful to some people. So, first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to graph this one right here, which is x squared. So if you know how to do that, you might skip ahead until I've graphed it or whatever, okay? So in order to do that, I'm going to make a table, like xy table, and then I'm going to go -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. And I'm going to put in each of those values. So when I put -2 in for x, I get -2 squared. -2 squared is not -4, okay? -2 squared is -2 times -2. And a negative times a negative is a positive. So then I have -1 squared, 0 squared, 1 squared, and 2 squared. So if I were to graph each one of those points, the first one is -2, 4, -1, 1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 4. Okay, there is the graph of x squared. Okay, this one is called like the parent function. Okay, and it's kind of like a starting point. Okay, and the goal of this unit, at least in the beginning, is to figure out how to move it around the graph. So its starting point is in the middle, 0, 0, okay? Now, we've talked a little bit in class about how to move it around. So I'm going to write something down here that would also graph what I have up there. These two are the same things. This also graphs the parent function, okay? Remember, this tells us left or right. This means it would move 0 to the left or right, okay? And it would move 0 up or down. Okay, so that is just like another way of writing it. And remember, when there's nothing in front of it, there's really a 1 here. There's really even a 1 here for A. And that tells me that when I go 1 over, I go 1 up to meet the parabola. Okay. So that is how you graph x squared. Now all the ones in colors over on the side, each one of those is going to move it to a different place in a different way. All right? So let's start with the blue one. Now, before I do the blue one, the quick way, I kind of want to do it a slower way that I think will help you see what's going on. Okay? All right, so if I were to make a table of this, I have x and f of x, and this time, let me think for a minute about what numbers that I want to enter. I'm going to enter 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, when I enter 0, I get 0 minus 2 is -2, and -2 squared is 4. When I put in 1, 1 minus 2 is -1, and -1 squared is 1. When I enter 2, 2 minus 2 is 0, and 0 squared is 0. When I enter 3, I get 1. And when I enter 4, 4 minus 2 is 2, and 2 squared is 4. So if I were to graph these points, watch what happens. 0, 4. 1, 1. 2, 0. 3, 1. And 4, 4. Okay? All right, and then I would connect those like this. So really, with any of these, I could just graph them with a table, okay? I would have to know what x values to plug in, okay? Because if you just plug in any x values, you don't really know like what part of the parabola you're getting, all right? Now, I knew to put All right, 2 in the middle, okay? How did I know that? Because I know, I've done this long enough to know that this equation, that minus 2 means that the vertex of the equation, remember the vertex is the top or the bottom of the parabola, okay? I know that it's moved 2 to the right. So if I knew that was the middle, I knew 2 was the middle, then I just put in the numbers around it and I filled it in. Now you don't have to do that every single time, okay? That would take forever and nobody wants to do that, all right? So the way that you want to be thinking about it in this unit is you want to think about what each thing does in the equation, okay? So we have a, and then x minus h plus k, all right? Each one of those letters, a, h, and k, will do different things to the parabola, okay? So remember, the easiest is k, okay? And k will move it up or down. Plus, it'll move it up. Minus will move it down. H, okay? H is the one that moves it left or right, okay? And it's the one that's the opposite, okay? If it's x minus 2, it's right 2, okay? If it's x plus 2, it's left 2. So it's the opposite. If it's minus, it's here, plus, it's here. And then the a value is what's called the vertical stretch, okay? And it's what makes it really narrow or really wide. It can also turn it upside down if it's negative, okay? So negative will turn it upside down. And that's what the different letters do. So if I'm doing one like this, okay, and I'm doing like a performance task, I could make a table, okay, but again, that takes too long. So I would just think about what all of these things are. It's all about what A, H, and K are, okay? So what is H in this problem? Well, H is 2, okay? There is no K. That means it's nothing. Now, there is an A value. When there's nothing in front, it's not 0. If it were 0, 0 times x minus 2 would be 0. The whole problem would go away. It would just be no good. So times 1, 1 times x minus 2 squared would just leave you with x minus 2 squared, okay? So your multiplier there really is 1. So if I'm graphing this one, my blue one up there, and I didn't want to make a table, I would know that I would have to, I always start in the middle, and then I ask myself, where is the graph sending me? Okay, well, x minus 2 is sending me to the right 2. Okay, nothing out here. This is like plus 0. I'm not moving off that x-axis. Okay, I'm not going up. I'm not going down. Now my a value, which, and I think this is what was confusing to some people, is that if there's nothing there, there's really a 1 there. You just got to remember that, okay? And that means, okay, so I went 2 over, and that means when I start to draw my parabola, I'm going to go 1 over and 1 up, okay? If it was a 2, I'd go 1 over and 2 up. If it was a 3, I'd go 1 over and 3 up. And then I would connect the dots and draw my parabola. You just have to decide like where to set the parabola down and how to draw it, okay? And you can see you get the same thing as we did when we did the table, but without all the work, all right? Okay, I want to do the green one now. So for the green one, I have f of x equals x squared minus 4. This one's a little tricky, okay? So the minus 4, you might want to think about what that is doing. Is it moving it left, right, up, or down? Okay. This is the same thing. This is the same as, let me write it out in a way that would be easier for you guys. Okay, if I gave you that, I think most of us would get it right. So this number, the 0, remember that's the left or right one. That's telling me it's not moving left or right. So remember, we always start in the middle, okay, right here. That minus 0, that tells me we're not going anywhere left or right. It's staying in the middle. And then the minus 4 is going to take it where? Down 4. Okay? And now, you know, if you just kind of go like this, you might get a few points. Okay? Not much. I mean, you know at least where the vertex is. But you have to think about what the A value is. Okay? Well, what did we say is in front? If nothing is there? A 1. So that means 1 over and 1 up on both sides. And then you could draw it through there. Okay? But it has the same general shape as the pink one. So I might look, okay, 1, 1. And then if I want to get really, you know, we'll get there with this, but you can see how it goes 2 over and 4 up, like this. So the green one is just 4 down. And you could make a table to prove that too. Okay, if you make a table, you'll get the same graph. It's getting a little busy, but at least I use different colors. Let's do the orange one now. Okay, so let's think, maybe try it on your own if you want to, but let's think about where the plus 1 takes us, and the plus 2 takes us, and then what kind of shape the 1 gives us, okay? So we start in the middle. I'm going to put my orange dot in the middle. I'm going to slide my orange dot. Where does plus 1 send us? Well, remember that one's opposite, so that's going to send me left 1. And then plus 2 is going to send me up 2, so that means the vertex for this one is right there. Okay, and then the shape of my parabola, actually I'm going to change this one. I'm going to make this a minus 1 in front. Okay, so that's going to turn it upside down. So I'm going to go 1 over, but instead of going 1 up, I'm going to go 1 down on both sides. And then I could just connect those 3 dots with a parabola. Okay, but I know that the next one is 2 over and 4 down. 2 over and 4 down. And then it goes like that. Okay, so you just think about what each number does. Okay, left 1, up 2, flips it over. All right, let's do the last one. Let's do the black one. So the black one has a number that's not 1 in every single one. Maybe try it on your own if you want to. So start here. This is where I like to start, okay, inside the parentheses. Just like, hey, you could think of it like PEMDAS. You do what's in the parentheses first, okay? Where does that minus 3 send me? Well, it's the opposite, so it would take me from the middle, okay? So just think of it as that pink parabola right now. We're moving it right 3. And then where does this send me? That sends me up 3. So there's where it's going to start, okay? You get a few points if you just kind of do this, all right? But you really should have a better idea what shape it has. At least you have it in the right spot, though. Now, the 2 in front tells me that from there, I go 1 over, and how many up? 2. 2. Okay, and we're going to talk more about A tomorrow or Thursday, but really that gives us enough of an idea. But for those of you who have really been following closely, you don't need to know this yet. But remember how it was 1, 1, and 2, 4? Okay, well this one goes 1, 2, 1 double to 2, and then 4 would actually double to 8 for your next one. If when I go 2 over, this one would actually go 8 up, but we'll talk more about that later. Okay, and this one would come up like that. So again, all of this was starting with the pink parabola and moving it around the graph using different parts of A, H, and K and thinking about what each one of them does.